Hello and welcome to Today in Brevard Sports. I'm Nessel.
And I'm McCallum.
Thank you for joining us on this fabulous Friday, where we bring you news and features on local sports personalities and events. Today, my partner in crime will show us what it takes to throw the shot put. We'll also learn about some very special kids who play in the Challenger Little League in Rockledge.
We'll hear from Florida Today columnist Peter Kerasotis, who will offer his take on some current hot topics in sports, including some recent cuts to high school sports schedules.
Then we'll highlight the latest sports feats from our local colleges and offer up some sporty things to do around Brevard County. Now, Brian, I know you got to spend some time with a really cool girl over at Cocoa Beach High School, Jocelyn Rice. She's played football, basketball, threw the shot put, and also I know that you and I go to the same chiropractor, and I'm not so sure I want to tell him what you went and did over there with this heavy metal ball. Just how heavy is that thing?
It's 9 pounds, 8.8 pounds for the girls. I feel better when I say 9 pounds. It's 12 pounds for the boys. So I was throwing the girls' shot put that day. But I'll tell you what, the point of this story was to show people that the shot put is not just something you throw around with your strength and your weight. It's a very technical sport, and there's a lot to think about. And what I found out was that that's even more true than I thought.
If you think the shot put is all about strength and muscle, then you've obviously never had a lesson in the shot put. I didn't either until I went out to Cocoa Beach High School to talk to one of its best throwers, Jocelyn Rice, and her throwing coach, Doc Kelly, and get a little lesson in how to do the shot put.
Let's see what I do. Here we go. My first ever shot put. I've never done this in my life. And I did have a chiropractic adjustment yesterday, so I'm probably not as strong as I would be otherwise. Not that that would be very strong at all. All right.
Not bad.
Well, I've been
for
to a
the
lot
first
of track
time.
meets. I've seen a lot of track meets. But first, tell me what I did right.
Not a lot you did right.
Okay, there's a surprise.
But I mean, you did have a nice follow through,
Okay.
which is good.
All right. I'm a basketball fan, so I know all about follow through.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like the same thing, except you want to go out like that instead of up.
Now, just for our viewers, you played basketball.
Yes.
How long did you do that? You did that all at Cocoa Beach?
Yep. I've played basketball for 12 years,
Okay.
I think.
What
But
position?
at
Did you
Cocoa
play all
Beach.
different positions?
All different positions, mainly forward though.
Okay. And what was your strength? What were you best at? Rebounding, defense, scoring?
I was best at defense and probably giving assists.
And another thing I have to ask you about, because people who read Florida Today may remember this from, I guess it was last summer. I didn't realize it was you until I went looking for photographs of you. You've been out there a little bit. You tried out, you played, was it spring football you played last summer?
Yep.
Tell us about that. Why did you do it?
I just decided, go out for the football team and be one of the guys. So I did it, and I was actually a pretty good linebacker. I'd say I was second string.
Now, I've met your mom at a basketball game. What did she think about it, and what did your track coaches think about it?
My mom was a little hesitant, but then she's like, I can do anything, so she was okay with it. She was like my cheerleader.
Did she come out to watch you?
Oh, yes, yes.
And what did your track coaches think?
They were a little scared, but it's a good chance for me to get to lift with the guys and build up some strength, so it was good.
When it comes to the shot put, Jocelyn is one of the best in this area. She's just one of the girls, but now she's going to teach one of the guys how to do this the right way.
All right, so I'm standing here at the end placing, basically, and you want to make sure that your feet are heel to toe. You see what I mean here?
Okay.
Heel to toe. You don't want your feet like this. You want to stay open and keep your hips open as well. So they're facing this way, but you want them to face this way before you completely turn your shoulders.
Okay.
Okay?
So a lot of your strength is coming from your legs up through your hips. You want your hips turning.
A lot of people don't think it comes from your legs, but it really actually does. Most of the strength does.
Yeah, okay.
So just want to start here, bend, and then punch. You want to salute out 45 degrees and make sure your left arm kind of brings through. It's almost like it's catching a cloud. You see that? I kind of catch a cloud and I bring it through. So then this is the end, and here, this is just the beginning. So you just start. You want to make sure your hand is actually on your collarbone right here. Usually a lot of people put it up here, but this is for like spinning. If you want to spin with the shot, you want it down here low.
Okay.
So you keep it nice and close to your neck, bend all your weight over your right foot, and just bring one up, through, and then out.
To me, the shot put was almost like golf. It's one thing to look at, but there's a lot more involved. There's a million things to think about.
So you just go up one, go through, and then push off. Straight leg too.
This is a lot. This is a lot.
There's a lot into throwing a shot put.
I thought this was going to be an interesting story, probably an embarrassing story, but I thought it was going to be an easy story. And I guess my premise that it's all technique rather than strength should have told me there's a lot to that technique. And how long between when you started, like me, you first walked out here till you felt kind of like, okay, I kind of know what I'm doing here?
2 years maybe. It started in 7th grade.
All right.
So.
And I've been here 5 minutes, so I've got what left?
Yeah.
All right.
Up, through, push.
Through, push. And
You want to glide though.
the turning is what?
Yeah.
And I am going up,
In.
up. My foot doesn't touch at this point.
No.
Right? Okay.
So just up, and then in.
All right, I've lost it. My problem is I'm thinking about the technique and not the purpose of the technique.
Good. This is a good,
They've decided
nice little
that,
tape job.
My Mark McGuire-like forearms are going to overpower my wrist. So just to protect me. No, why did you think this is a good idea?
Well, just
prevent injury.
Yeah, just to be sure that you can write tomorrow
Just keep
morning.
it straight.
Yeah.
Keep the wrist straight, because like you could sprain your wrist, or
Yeah, you could-
know, in worst case, break a bone or something.
You could.
Or okay. After 3.5 hours of personal instruction with the camera off, I'm ready to try this a little bit with the shot put in my hand to see what we did, or the effect of what we did. This out. That was about 2 inches further. All right, Jocelyn, I don't see any representatives from the U.S. Olympic team, so I'm assuming that I'm not quite to that level yet. My theory is that the technique makes a huge difference, because even on the last few tries that were just beating my untutored attempt by a few inches, they weren't much farther, but I also was thinking a lot and I wasn't putting a lot of power into it because I was trying to do the technique right. Do you think I made progress? What did I improve on today in your eyes?
I think you improved on everything. Basically, your technique is a lot better now, and like Doc Kelly said, if you give us a few more hours, you could get 5 more feet.
Okay. I want to thank Jocelyn and Coach Doc Kelly for their help with that shot put video. Doc Kelly does a lot of work with a lot of kids in the area just for the good of the sport, for the good of the kids. And I think we learned 2 things other than how to throw a shot put. One is that I'm no athlete, and 2 is that I need to get in the sun a lot. And I'll be doing that this weekend at the Class 1A State Track and Field Meet in Winter Park near Orlando. You can go over and watch a lot of track and field action on both Friday and Saturday. Or if you're at home, you can follow our live blog on floridatoday.com. There's been a lot of talk about whether Cocoa can win another state championship. The Tigers have already won state championships in football and boys basketball, and that would give them a chance to win 3 state championships in one academic school year. There are some prep events today locally in Brevard County, including 2 local softball teams hosting regional semifinal games. Covenant Christian hosts Faith Christian at 4 p.m. in one game, and O'Galley hosts West Orange in another. If you're a football fan, you can kind of get a taste of the football season as spring football practice starts today in Florida for high schools, and several teams will be out on football fields today. And finally, Merritt Island Christian will be hosting a district baseball championship at 5 o'clock at Merritt Island Christian.
In local college news, Florida Tech's women's varsity 8 rowing finished 3rd in Saturday's Sunshine State Conference Championship race on the C-54 Canal north of Fellsmere. The Panthers finished behind first place Nova Southeastern and Barry University. Brevard Community College's softball team is again heading to the NJCAA Division I Region 8 tournament under head coach Ed Yanes. BCC is coming off a 34-14 regular season that saw it finish third in the 5-team Southern Conference behind Indian River State College. That school is the nation's #1 ranked team. BCC opens play in the 16-team double elimination tournament today in Auburndale. The winner of the state tournament advances to the NJCAA National Tournament in Utah. Now, we want to introduce you to a special group of Little Leaguers who play in Rockledge. They come from all over Brevard County, and these ball players bring a lot of heart to the field.
We have 67 children on our teams. We have 4 teams in total. I've been with the Little League program for 10 years now. 10 years ago, my son had nothing to do. He's a spastic quadriplegic, and he couldn't even pick up the bat. He still can't. But there was just nothing. So we started off this program with Mila Elementary, and it started off as a physical therapy program. Then after about a year, the teachers all backed out and left us the program to continue, and we've just kept it growing ever since. We have children coming from Palm Bay, Titusville, Mims, Indian Atlantic. They come from all over Brevard County to come play ball with us. We have kids in the league with autism, Down syndrome, spastic quadriplegics, to being down to having just a simple speech impairment problem. Challenger kids are just like regular Little League kids. There is some competitiveness out there, even though we're not competitive itself. You know, we don't count the scores and we don't count the outs. As long as everybody gets to bat, it's fine. But you still have some of those children out there that like to taunt the other kids, sure. Rockledge Little League provides the challengers with some fields, free uniforms, doesn't charge the parents at all to play, and registration is now up to $80 per player, you know, so that is a big expense to the kids who are on our team. So all that is free of charge for the children that play with our division. It's such an expense for a child to play a sport. So I actually go out and I'll provide the kids with gloves, with cleats. If their parents can't afford them, I will make sure that they have them. For that hour or that 45 minutes, they are as normal as any other person out there. There's no limitations, and the sky's the limit. We would love for the community to come out and watch a game on a Friday night at 6:30. We play at Cogswell Park in Rockledge off of Barton Boulevard. You know, I've been doing it pretty much by myself for almost 10 years between North Merritt Island and Rockledge Little League. I have a few parents that do help out, but for the most part it is me. And it is dragging us down, so volunteers, I need them in a bad way. They can email me at donaldchristie@yahoo.com.
Something interesting is that these kids are now playing against teams in the majors and minors from Rockledge Little League. The goal is to give the kids a regular competitive experience, and it seems highly popular. More and more coaches are asking to be rotated into the schedule to play the Challenger teams.
Florida Today columnist Peter Kerasotis with us again this week with his commentary. Peter, I cover high school sports, and like you, I know that there's been some big news lately. They're going to cut 20% from some of the schedules and 40% from some others. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, this is not really a shock. We know that this has been coming down the pike for a while. There's been a lot of rumors for months, and then a month ago they talked about how they were going to have a meeting and try to decide about this. So a lot of the local athletic directors and coaches that I see and talk to have been wondering what's going to happen. And as you mentioned, it's going to be a 20% cut for most varsity sports except for football, which is going to keep its 10-game season. And I can't say that I'm shocked, and I can't say that it's a bad idea. We all know what's going on with the economy. We all know that every industry is having cutbacks. Look at GM is cutting the Pontiac brand and laying off 21,000 people. So when I hear that high school golf in the state of Florida is going to go from 14 tournaments down to 13, I'm not wringing my hands over that and worrying so much. But it's just indicative of what's going on, and I know that even some coaches are talking about how it might not be a bad thing. One of the coaches that we quoted in our paper, a coach that I've known for 30 years, Greg Hostetler from Astronaut High, the girls basketball coach. I first started covering Astronaut High girls basketball back in 1978, so I've known Greg for a long time, covered state championship wins that he's had at Astronaut High School. And I thought it was interesting that he said that he thought that the 25-game season is actually perhaps just a little bit too long, that he feels like his players do tire out, and that he schedules 21 to 22 games, and that going to 20 games is not going to be a hardship. Predictably, I think a lot of these coaches do want to play more games, and they're saying that they don't see how this is really going to save a lot of money. But those buses that they need to go on road games, officiating, all the ancillary costs, it does add up. And so to scale back just a little bit, and I know that the FHSAA has said that this is really just a 2-year plan, and they're hoping that 2 years down the road, the high school sports in Florida will be back and robust again. Hopefully the economy will be as well. They'll be playing full season. So I can't say that I'm surprised. It's really not that drastic. And given the economy, it's something maybe that's necessary on the short term. And we'll see how the economy and high school sports plays out on the long term, Brian.
And the fact is, there are economic realities, and kind of a best of times, worst of times Charles Dickens moment for you the other night, I guess. There are some kind of surrealities, if that's a word, that you came across in some professional sports.
Well, I was at the Magic game this past Tuesday night, and the NBA Commissioner David Stern was there, which is a rare visit. He couldn't even remember the last time he had been to a Magic game, but he was there the other night. And we got a chance to talk to him about the economy and how his league is affected by it. And I think the most telling quote that he had to me was, "We're nervous," and rightfully so. You know, just this past week, the Detroit Pistons weren't selling out their arena for their series against the Cleveland Cavaliers, and they were emailing Cavs fans to come to their games in Detroit. There's cheap tickets to be had, $11. Please come to our arena. And oh, by the way, we know that you're going to root against our team. So that's how desperate times are getting. Is here you've got your team, which has got a pretty rich history as far as the NBA is concerned. The Detroit Pistons have won multiple NBA titles, inviting Cleveland fans to come to their arena and trying to entice them and imploring them to come. And the Cavaliers have arguably the most electric player in the NBA in LeBron James. You would think that they could sell out their arena for postseason games, but they're not. And so it's just indicative of what's going on, not just in the NBA, but all the professional sports leagues are concerned, as well they should be.
It's going to be interesting to see how people react in a time when times are tough and some of these guys are making big salaries. Thanks, Peter. Interesting stuff again.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Peter. Do you have any soccer equipment laying around? Bayside High School soccer player Heather Botello wants it. She has launched a community service project to collect gently used soccer equipment for children in need. Botello will be collecting the gear at this weekend's Spring Challenge at Palm Bay Regional Park. She will be accepting equipment at her tent from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturday and 9 a.m. to noon on Sunday. All soccer gear is welcome: cleats, shin guards, socks, tournament t-shirts, balls, and uniforms.
Beginning Sunday, the Kiwi Tennis Club in Indian Harbor Beach will host some of the world's best upcoming professional women's tennis players at the MEMA Foundation USTA Pro Tennis Classic. For the 4th straight spring, the tournament will run for 8 days with the 32-play main draw starting Tuesday. Qualifying rounds begin Sunday, and the $50,000 tournament will end with Mother's Day singles and doubles finals on Sunday, May 10th. Past winners from the event have all since cracked the world's top 100 players and are performing on the main WTA Tour. They are Adina Galovitz, American Bethany Matek, and Yanina Wickmeyer. Admission for the first 5 days of the event is free. Tickets are required for the final 3 days and are available at the Kiwi Club. And don't forget, if you can't join me at the Class 1A and Class 2A state track and field meets on Friday and Saturday, remember to check floridatoday.com, where I'll be blogging live so you can keep track of all our local athletes.
In local minor league football news, the Brevard Warriors won 21-7 over the Orange County Falcons last week to advance to the 3rd round of Southeast Football League playoffs. The divisional championship game was originally scheduled for tomorrow, but had to be moved back 1 week to next Saturday, May 9th. The change is due to a rescheduled playoff game to determine the Warriors' next opponent. The Warriors will enjoy a bye weekend, then take the field again at 7 p.m. May 9th at Stradley Field in Cocoa. The winner of that game will advance to the league championship. The Warriors are still sitting at number 2 in the nation. Now, Brian, I would not suggest you pick up a shot put when you're out there covering state track this weekend and next weekend. We wouldn't want you to get hurt, and we wouldn't want you to embarrass yourself.
But I will put on the sunblock.
Okay, yes, we don't want to come in with any red burns, so definitely put on the sunblock. Thank you for joining us today in Brevard Sports. Join us next week for another look at sports news in your community.
We'll see you next week.